Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome into Nebraska Preps Postgame, a podcast about high school sports in Nebraska. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here. We are going to talk about basketball because a lot of stuff happened with basketball, especially girls basketball. We will recap, review what happened in the girls' state basketball tournament, and then we will do a little look ahead to the boys' state basketball tournament. That's the two topics today. So Indeed. Let's start with Class D1. I guess we'll just start the finals, and then we can kind of mix in a little bit outside of that. But Pender, pretty good.
So yeah, it's kind of just overall in general, we had some pretty heavy favorites going into the tournament, and pretty much all of them won. Pender was one of those kind of heavy favorites going in. We had one, two, three repeats, and all were expected to go in. They took care of business. I mean, they weren't necessarily start to finish. Oh, no doubters. Those teams really had to earn them, but they did. And Pender is one of those right off the bat. Finished 28-2. Back-to-back state champs. Obviously, they won in C2 to start that streak and won in D2 the last 2 years. And man, they certainly left no doubt.
Yeah.
Pender hit their first 8 shots from the field. 6 of them were threes. They were up 22-5 to start the game, and it was already over at that point. Just a fantastic overall shooting performance. They finished 13-22 in the game from 3. And I believe they finished with 269 threes on the season, which would be third all time, all class. So pretty impressive season by Pender, and particularly Mady Dolliver, who had a fantastic tournament. She finished with 25 points in the championship, went 6-9 from 3. So now she holds the all class single game tournament record for threes. She went 9-16 in the first round, scored 33 points. She set the record for threes in a tournament with 18 on 37 attempts. So nearly 50% from 3 for the tournament. She set a season record with 111 threes from start to finish this year. And also last year, she set the single game all class record for any game with 13.
Yeah.
So, and she's just a junior. She's got another year to kind of build off of this. So really impressive run by Mady there, helping send off her sister Maya with another state championship. And Hadley Walsh had 23, 8, and 6 in the championship game.
She's back next year.
Exactly. So
they're going to be good.
Pender's not going anywhere.
No.
You got Dolliver and Walsh back there. So fantastic season there for the Penn Dragons. Great job by Jason Dolliver keeping that team rolling. Hadley got hurt at the Sokol deal, dislocate her elbow, I believe. It was rough. So it missed some time. They were able to kind of rally through that, and she got back out there and played a huge part in their tournament run. So congrats to them.
We should add in there too, Jacob, as well. Pender, of all the teams that across all classes, they were the best team at PBA by far.
Oh yeah. Shooting was very poor for the most part. Outside, if your name wasn't Mady Dolliver.
Exactly.
The overall 3-point percentage for the tournament at PBA in Devaney, 24.4%.
That's not good.
No, it is not. So rough shooting. Obviously, there are a lot of factors that go into it. The different sight lines of the arena, the pressure of the moment, and knowing do or die, it's all on the line. You're facing better defenses than you typically do during the regular season. You've got the college arc as well.
I was going to bring up the 3-point line issue, but
so all those things factor into that. I will say free throw shooting was very poor as well, and that has nothing to do with who you're facing or lines on the court. That's all between you and the basket there. But it's for an overall week that included some pretty rough shooting. To see what Mady Dolliver did, especially like starting right off the first game of the tournament, dropped 33, hit those 9 threes. Quite a way to start, to set the bar far too high for everybody else that followed.
You could also argue too that Pender themselves, just the team that was expected to win in their class, they performed up to what we thought their ability was. Not saying that the other teams that did end up winning the titles weren't as impressive, but of where we thought Pender was going to be, that's kind of where they ended up.
Won by 19, 13, and 34 in the championship. So, pretty impressive run by the Pendragons there in D1 to start championship Saturday.
Yeah. Then C1 was the next game, and Lincoln Christian was the heavy favorite. And it's a very heavy favorite there. They get it done, and
it was a good game though. Like they had to earn it.
Yeah.
But impressive. Yeah, they finished
undefeated
28-0, back-to-back champs, first time
school history. They've won a lot of games there.
Yeah,
and state championships, and the first time for both of those things is pretty cool.
Yeah. Mady Kasbaum, who 20 a game during the season, has been a longtime great player for them. She didn't have a great tournament. She took over in the second half of the semifinal when they really needed it and carried her team into the final. But they won without their star playing her best, which is a testament to the overall strength of the team and also the play of Kenna Ailes, who she had 3 double-doubles in the tournament, averaged 14 points and over 15 rebounds a game. Fantastic run by her. And it was fun to see that championship game with Milford. Shayla Rautenberg, a 6'3" freshman, who she's going to be she's a big time volleyball prospect, but she's pretty good in basketball as well. She even had Danny Busbom Kelly and Jalen Reyes watching her early in the tournament. Yeah. So pretty cool there. But Rautenberg also had 3 double-doubles for Milford in the tournament. And I think the Minden Milford semifinal was probably one of the best games of the tournament.
Mental view of that is weird because
too much purple.
Purple and teams with the Block M logo. I was worried about
hard to
trying to keep them together. I even tweeted that before the start. Took a picture of the scoreboard. I was like, this is not going to get confusing at all here. Fortunately, I don't think I misidentified any of the teams in my write-up or in my tweets. That's what I was worried about. But that was a fantastic game in semifinal with those two going back. Maddie Camry, Mila Emery, a really good duo for Minden, who ended up won the state volleyball, finished 3rd place in basketball. So pretty special run by that group of Whippets there. But Milford, Ayla Roth, senior guard, had great season, really good in the tournament, gave himself a chance in the final, but Lincoln Christian was too much. They got too much. They ended up hitting 9 threes. They didn't shoot a great percentage, 9 of 27, 33%, which is better than most teams did. 9. But 9 versus, I think Milford only hit 4. So that's a big gap to make up. And when you've got kind of 2 bigs going back and forth, both producing well, it was going to be hard to make up that gap. And that's what made Lincoln Christian so good. You've obviously got Kasbaum, just all around good player, Ailes, a talented post player. And then you got shooters around them. A lot of girls that can knock down shots. So it's a really well-balanced team and a fantastic season for Lincoln Christian.
And what we say, at 39 in a row now for them, dating back to 2024. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. And we'll see kind of what they can do moving in next year to kind of keep that thing rolling. But great way for the talented senior class to go out for Christian.
It'd be cool to see them play in the Nebraska prep girls basketball showcase and Kearney against somebody, an A team or something, right?
Yeah.
You kind of work that in a little bit to the schedule.
Indeed.
So Class A, Millard West, back-to-back champs.
28-1 finish.
As expected at the beginning of, or like we talked about last week, but the semifinal game was not easy.
Well, we talk about how good the team is, how talented, high powered. We obviously know what Neely Gesser can do. Kylie Pabin's really talented. Nora Gesser, all around really good player. But they did not play very well offensively in this tournament. They won with their defense. They held teams to 20%, 22%, and 29.2% in their 3 games from the field. Holding teams under 30% all 3 games. Just a fantastic defensive performance, and they need it. Like you said, 34-28 was the semifinal result there against Lincoln North Star, where North Star did a great job with their 1-3-1 zone trap and really disrupted. Millard West came out, knocked down a couple of threes early, and you're like, oh, this could get bad. But credit to North Star, they kind of adjusted. They started taking those away a little bit better, and Millard West didn't really have an answer for much of that game. But they made enough plays down the stretch. And again, defensively, they never got into rhythm offensively, but defensively, they completely locked North Star down in the second half. And in the final, it was all Millard West. They got out to a lead early and then kind of kept it the rest of the way. Kylie Pabin, 19 points, 13 rebounds. Neely hit 4 threes, finished with 18 points, 8 boards. Finished the season with 104 threes on the season, so she's up there, not too far behind Dolliver, top 10 for Nebraska all time. Kind of a fun little side story too from the championship was Jade Lewis, who 15 points, 7 boards in the game. She had 11 in the third quarter by herself. And if you don't know, Jade transferred from UTAN this year to play for them. She was a really good player for UTAN, kind of one of their main players. But you go to Class A, she said she was nervous before her game there. She didn't quite know what it was going to be like. It's quite a step up in competition. And she only scored in double figures 4 times during the regular season. Obviously, you're playing with some high-powered players. She settled in pretty well as a season. Just watching them a couple times down the stretch, like the last month, she was really good. But that wasn't a role to be a big-time scorer with the pieces they had. But twice in their 3 games at state, she scored in double figures. So pretty cool way for her to kind of cap her 1 year there with Millard West, and played a huge part in that championship. And she said, going to Millard West this year, the best decision she's ever made. Got emotional talking about it in the press conference. And those are kind of the moments that really make this special and makes it fun to follow these tournaments and just seeing the outpouring of emotion from different players, different coaches. And we certainly saw a little bit of that from Jade there. So
I also talked to her after the game. She compared her game to Dennis Rodman, which was a take, but nonetheless, it goes to show the mentality she had the entire tournament run as well.
For sure. And she knows Neely's going to get up a ton of shots. Kylie's going to get up a ton of shots. Nora's going to be the one with the ball in her hands. She wants to get shots. She's got to go crash the offensive glass more often than not. And that's what she does as a guard down there, mixing it up. Seems like she's in the mix on every single time a rebound goes up. She's tough. So again,
on that same note in Class A too, obviously Millard West won, but kind of the story of the run was how surprising Westside got there as well, because they had pretty much upsets all the way into the championship game. And I don't know how many people gave them as much credit after you lose, in the title game, but nonetheless, Westside obviously finishes with the runner up.
As the 7th seed. And you had 6 and 7 seeds led by freshmen, both win on the bottom half of the bracket, with Bellevue West knocking off rival Bellevue East, and then Westside getting that win there. And then Westside beat Bellevue West as well in a competitive game. So again, you had Amaya Jo Matoyer leading Westside, freshman guard. She scored 12 points, finished with 18, scored 12 in the third quarter that game looked like it was going to get completely away from Westside. And Amaya Jo didn't quite let it get as bad as it could have been, because she was getting buckets there in the third quarter. So it was kind of the Jade versus Amaya Jo matchup there in that third quarter, which not sure that's what you expected going in, but that's what we got. So to your point on Bellevue West and Westside, though, those two are primed to be right in the top of the conversation in Class A next year.
That's the conversation we had during the final minutes of the Class A game.
Very much so.
Looked over.
It'll be those two will be at the top of the preseason lists of teams.
The WS all freshmen leading the way, freshmen, sophomores, for the most part. Westside again. Kimora Jenkins is the senior, a huge piece for them, but Sinai Foster's back, Amaya Jo Matoyer's back. They've got some other role players back as well. Heck, even Millard South making it as the 8th seed. They didn't have a senior on their roster. Everybody, freshmen, sophomores, Abby Duro's junior there. So a lot of young teams made state this year. So we're losing some big names, some kind of senior-laden teams here going out, but there's a lot of young talent, I think, on the way up that has a chance to be pretty good here in Nebraska over the next few years.
All right, moving on. C2, Oakland-Craig, the Knights finally get it done. Get a state championship, first one. Lowest seed to win the title as a 3 seed there. It was 4 1s, a 2, and a 3 were the championships here. So not their semifinal win was probably bigger than. Really, again, like you said, their first title breaking through. And they pulled out a couple of close ones in the final. They were down 15 in the first half, and got it all the way back. It was kind of a 1 point game with less than 30 seconds to go. And freshman Hillary Ray knocked down a 3 with about 22 seconds left to push the lead to 4. And that was essentially the dagger.
They managed to pull off the comeback, 151-46. And Addie Rennerfelt capped a strong tournament, 16 points, 8 boards. Briar Ray had a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Sonia Gazinski, who coach's daughter there, she had a great tournament leading up. Didn't have a great final game, but she was the one leading them in the first and second rounds. Hit a bunch of threes there. So impressive job. Oakland-Craig's obviously been there a lot. They've had
never just
runner-up, third place,
breakthrough.
Yeah, and they finally did. Finished 26-3. So great job by Oakland-Craig, Coach Kaczynski there to finally break through and get it done. They beat Elkhorn Valley, who had a strong season as well. JJ Black had a fantastic tournament run for them. She had 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks in the final after having 10 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 blocks, nearly a triple-double in the semis. That was one of the better championship games there in C2 with Oakland-Craig finding a way to pull off the comeback there. I think probably the most notable result from the previous rounds is GACC knocking off Johnson Brock in the first round, 8-1. And it was kind of funny how it played out, because we also had an 8-1 in the D2, and they were happening at the same time in that first window at PBA and Devaney there going on. So we were watching saw Wilcox at Hildreth knocked off Shelton there. We're watching that while we were watching the score aboard. It's like, wait, is that happening too at the same time?
Right.
So pretty wild. And both those teams, they lost the one seeds. They lost their first game of the season, won 25 straight, and then lost their first tournament round as the one seed at the same time. So kind of a wild coincidence there, but that's how it played out. And part of that led to Oakland-Craig getting its title.
Yeah. All right. Class B, Skutt wins a high-scoring affair against Grenade, 37-25. That's how Grenade. That's just
weekday Wade was in full effect all week long.
Yeah, that's just how they play. So it's So
Skutt 28-1, finish it off. The final was 37-25, and it wasn't smooth sailing like Skutt. They did not, again, kind of the theme of this, did not play very well offensively, did not shoot the ball well. Molly Ladwig, who obviously has done so much for them, carried them in the first 2 rounds. She only made 3 shots in the final. The key to the victory was Libby Shotkowski at 15 points, 5 of 8 from 3 after leaving the semifinal. It looked like a pretty serious.
Yeah, it looked like she broke her ankle.
Yeah, she was off the floor in the tunnel, came back, and we said to each other that she wasn't coming back.
Yeah, they elevated it, put ice on it, then she got it taped and put her shoe back on, went to the bench like she was going to return. They were in control. They never needed to, and then she ended up taking off and going back. But to turn that around and play the next day and play the way that she did, that was a fantastic performance by Libby for sure. And Cameron Kasner, 11 points, 11 rebounds, averaged 13 and 10 in the tournament. And that's what she's been all season for them. Just talk about Dennis Rodman. That's who Kip Colony called Cameron Kasner.
She does all the little dirty, tough gritty, tough things you need to win. Even on their soccer team, she's like that.
Yep. So
speaking of soccer, Gretna East, that got brought up a couple of times, multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Gretna East, I mean, they proved their athleticism right from the very beginning, and they carried that all the way through. And it was very impressive to watch how frustrated teams were playing against them, especially on, just in first halves when teams just couldn't get a shot up.
Yeah, no doubt. So Gretna East, fantastic run, just second year as a school already. They made the tournament in year 1. And year 2, they made it to the final. So, I think it's safe to say Weekday Wade doing a pretty darn good job out there. And
did a pretty good job at Lincoln Lutheran, too.
Exactly.
and Columbus SCOTUS.
It is worth, you talk about the multi-sport athletes, it always is worth highlighting when you've got a setup like that where all the coaches over there work so well together and they're fine with whatever they can get of the athletes. They're not making them make hard decisions and forcing them into situations where they're putting themselves in trouble in other areas. Like they worked together out there. If some of the girls needed to miss some games, then so be it. The next girl up, she has to step up. And he plays his whole bench anyway, does the 5 in, 5 out line changes, gives everybody a chance to play. So yeah, it had players ready to step up when some of their leaders maybe need to miss a game or two.
The fact that Sonora Defini, who scored 50 whatever goals in a single season last year and broke the record, is committed to Oklahoma State and is an amazing soccer player, is a starter on your basketball team.
And she's out there doing the dirty work.
Yeah.
Rebounder, doesn't score
a ton, a lot
but
about her and the program and all of that. And just it also says a lot that like she could have just played club soccer all winter and been fine, but she didn't. So it's pretty cool.
And Carly Williams had a great tournament run, a great season for Red Heat. So tough team, but
pretty good soccer player. Yeah.
But Skutt would not be denied finally after 3 years as a runner-up, and obviously we know why. Who they're going up against now in year four straight year in the final.
First one in school.
Finally broke through for this first one. Yeah, so another first-time champion there for Skutt. Want to move on to the next
D2
one?
Fall City Sacred Heart.
Not a first-time winner.
No, they're very used to being in this situation.
Yep. But Sacred Heart as the 2 seed, 26-4 final, made it there, and beat
Dorchester.
Dorchester, the 4 seed, in the final. It was 8-6 after the first quarter, and then Sacred Heart just dominated the last 3. They didn't give up a field goal in the fourth quarter, only allowed 2 points, and ended the game on a 15-0 run. So ended up being one of the bigger, more lopsided results there. And again, largely because of Sacred Heart's defense over the last 3. And it's a team that's been there before, done that. It was their 9th school title, 3 out of the last 4. And Gentry Lechtenberg, 16 points, 12 rebounds in the final. Fantastic tournament for her as
averaged
well.
a double-double in the 3 games. Pretty good.
And Avery Santo, 15-36 from 3. That's almost 42% in the tournament. So again, another player that she went off in the first couple of games there. And another player shooting well in a setting that a lot of others did not. Yeah. So I wanted to give her some credit for that as well. And like I said, D2 also saw their 1 seed go down in the first round, which opened up the tournament for everybody else.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about boys?
Yeah. Austin, you have any other final lasting thoughts from state? Who was your favorite interview? You conducted a ton of those. Anybody stand out? That
a Jade Lewis, Dennis Rodman drop. I already mentioned it, but that was fantastic. I mean, that was great. The Dollivers were fantastic as well. I do want to say, out of all the coach interviews, Kip Colony was fantastic. I mean, you could tell that was one that he was striving for, and especially when you don't have to face Britt Prince in the last game of the season, that does help. But regardless, it's still a state championship, so really happy for them as well. Only last thing that I would say is if you have an old tournament team or anything like that, I mean, that's probably what we'd be looking for, but you can also find it, I know, on the Hurrdat Sports, because Jacob was doing write-ups every single day.
Yep, you can go find in my championship roundup, I named an all-tournament team and most outstanding player in each of the 6 classes. We basically talked about all of them running through this, but you can go find with their stats for the tournament on our website there, and we'll be doing same thing. Also be running around doing interviews. Mike,
I will be there all 4 is it 4 days, 5 days,
4 days,
whatever. I'll be there every day, all day.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed our coverage of Girls State Tournament, we're gonna have just as much doing all the same stuff this week. So look forward to that on all our social channels. Hopefully everything's working properly, but by that point, but yeah, let's dive into the boys quick.
Yeah, boys fast.
We got some time.
16, 18 minutes. Let's just start an A. We talked about it a little bit last week.
Yeah. It's
pretty wide open.
Yep. And again, all 4 games are rematches where the lower seed beat the higher seed during the regular season. It's Papio South versus Papillion La Vista. So the Papio battle there in the 1-8. North Bellevue West 4-5. The rematch of the last 12 championship games, it feels like, and we get that in the first. The slight hyperbole there. But yeah, we get that in the first round, and the winner of that seedings hold there. You got Papio South versus Millard North or Bellevue West in a final. That would be fantastic.
Semifinal.
Yeah, that's what I mean, semifinal. And then so you're getting some of the best matchups that we thought we'd get going into the year in the first couple of rounds of the state tournament. So that's pretty cool. On the other side, you got West Side versus Lincoln Southwest, a rematch of that one.
Which is wild.
Quick turnaround.
That matchup is just a little crazy.
So kind of what adjustments does West Side make to kind of with the quick turnaround? Obviously, just saw them
won by 40.
Exactly, and then Southwest got them.
It's like, how do you
rubber match here?
Where we
interesting to see.
One of those
wide range of
outcomes
give
there. I don't know what it is, but something's gonna get.
Which of those results was more the true difference between the teams? We'll find out. And then Lincoln North Star and Lincoln Southeast are all Lincoln. Good. Yeah, so we got all Papio battle in the first game and all Lincoln battle in the last game.
How about this? Lincoln guaranteed a semifinalist for the first time since I can remember. It's been a minute.
Yeah. That's it's
been a while.
I mean, not often that you've got multiple teams in, let alone playing,
especially the last
3 in the same half of the bracket.
We'll see what we can find. I'll dig into that.
You're good. So it should be a fun tournament, like you said, wide open. Papio South is the favorite going in. I would say just based on how they're playing and how everybody else is playing, some recent results, but they're not far and away from everybody else.
I'm not going to I had someone yesterday. Like, who's going to win? I've had like 3 or 4 people in the last handful of days ask me who's going to win state basketball boys, and I'm like, I in Class A, and I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It's so wide open, and then I always just go back to like, what is the team that has been there and done that before, or like the roster, and I look at Millard North. That's because they have their best player has been in these big moments forever. So or his whole high school career. And so I look at that as like, okay, that maybe gives them a little bit of an advantage. But then Papio South has Bryson Ball, and then Bellevue West beat Millard North earlier in the year, and both teams have gotten better.
Robbie Garcia is another one.
Yeah, Robbie Garcia has a ton of experience there. And then Lincoln North Star can just jump out, try and out-athlete you.
One thing I had pointed out
Southwest
about
has Mikey Nagoy, who's very
Southeast.
Good. Southeast, and West Side has the biggest, longest, most college-looking
waves at you.
Roster. So I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah. Mentioned Robbie Garcia, something that we didn't mention. I didn't even realize it from that district final. He out-rebounded Prep by himself.
Yeah.
That 24. Is insane. 24 to Prep only had 23 rebounds.
It's 7 offensive rebounds.
Our guy Mac Johnson kind of pointed that out to me, and a great Prep alum who we had shooting photos for us. Does great work. Go check him out.
And then also Papillion La Vista. Before I have to mention everyone because someone's going to feel slighted if I don't. I know I'll hear about it. So Papillion and the job that Will Pope has done in year 3 to get to the state championship, and the size they have can be an advantage for them. It's just sometimes they can get a little shaky with shot selection. All 8, like, you could literally you can make a case for all 8 to like win the thing. Yeah. You can find a way. You can find a path.
Also, last Lincoln semifinalist, Lincoln North Star 2019.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was a while. Yeah. 6 years.
Yeah, indeed.
That's semifinals. Not even finalists. Yeah. It's longer than that.
Semifinalists, yes, correct. If I went back finalists, we would be here for longer than our time allotted.
It's been a while.
Looking ahead to be there.
I'm not a fan of how the bracket shook out.
I did not look at that. I did not realize that until yesterday for the first time because I was so buried in the girls stuff. I'd seen the Class A brackets, obviously, but I had not looked at the full bracket.
That Monday night after the district final, after the district finals on that Monday, or last Monday, I looked at the points and I was like, this could not be what we kind of want.
Norris is the 1, Skutt is the 4, which means they are on the same half of the bracket.
Yeah.
That was the final last year, the 1 and 2 all season long.
Yeah, the year. One that everyone, like we've all said, and everybody said, that doesn't make me happy. Also, Pius at the 8 is really dangerous. I was at Pius Norris regular season game, and it was pretty competitive until the last, I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
and the Norris got them quite a bit in the district,
right? Sub-district final, which didn't matter.
Yeah.
So that one I think could get a little bit dicey. Do I think DC West can beat Skutt? I don't. And Scottsbluff Gretna East is very interesting.
Indeed. Gretna East, they've kind of been up and down, but they've got some really good wins. They've got some pieces. A lot of guys that have played together now for a bit, and they got, like you said, a lot of sophomores playing significant roles, but they've also got some seniors as well.
People should watch Nate Kelly from Scottsbluff. Like, you should make it a point to watch Scottsbluff if you're just. I know there's a lot of casual fan or people that are, their team played earlier in the day and they hang around. I would make it a point to watch him on Thursday night.
No doubt. Junior point guard for them does a whole lot. And they obviously in the tournament previously and now bringing back with Trey Boswell and Riley Mininger.
There's some shooting to go around him.
Yeah. Yes. Not a lot of size,
huge, but they
can run and get shots.
They hit threes. Yeah.
So Nate Kelly, one of the best players in the class for sure.
2026
will be a lot of fun to watch there. That has a chance to be kind of a fun up tempo game there with Gretna East.
And then Wahoo Elkhorn North could be really interesting too.
Yeah.
If Elkhorn North makes shots, they're beating anybody. They can beat anybody. Key for them is decision making, limiting turnovers, and then committing on defense. Yeah.
Those are both areas that have hurt them in their losses this season, where I've seen in person where they're talented enough to play with anybody, but they got to make sure they take care of the little things. They got to make sure locking down on defense, communicating, and then making good decisions. Do not turn the ball over. Those are the areas that have really hurt them. And to see them turn around and beat Bennington like they did in the district final after turning it over a ton in the sub-district final and losing the way that they did in that one. We'll see if kind of they learn from that and we'll carry that into the tournament here. So,
also, I think I mentioned this last week, but I'm happy for Andy King getting to the state tournament because there was this undue pressure because of what the phenom of the girls basketball team did. It just didn't make sense. Yeah. So,
would you be shocked to see anybody come out of that bottom half of that bracket?
No, any of those four for sure.
Yeah. So, we'll see kind of who emerges from there. But the Skutt Norris semifinal that seems wrong, but that'll be a fantastic matchup.
If it happens, you can't guarantee it. People yell at Jacob, not me. I didn't just say that.
You interrupted me before I finished my sentence.
No, Jacob fully committed. He said the semifinal is for sure Norris and Skutt. I heard it too, Mike.
It was not me. Mm-hmm. The only people that can get mad at me is I do think Skutt will beat DC West. So the DC West people, I'm sorry. Like, I think that's probably going to happen. And if it doesn't, great. I'll take the heat for that. Yeah. But you definitely leaned all the way in.
Sure. All right. Let's lean into C1. Where Ogallala is the 2 seed, 24-1. Had a fantastic season. You talk about Nate Kelly.
Yeah.
Sawyer Smith is another one that if you're just a fan of basketball and want to see guys that you maybe haven't seen much. That
is a very interesting matchup with Donovan Trumbull.
Indeed. And so
this is the best bracket for me.
I love it's the most competitive.
Every year it seems that way. So Ogallala, Donovan Trumbull, I coached both Sawyer Smith and Jack Poppy for Donovan Trumbull a couple of summers ago. So they were teammates. Those guys know each other well. They're friends, and it's going to be fun to kind of watch them compete there. Donovan Trumbull has been at state. They're undersized, but play up tempo. Got a lot of guard play and kind of similar. Ogallala, they run and gun, a lot of guards there. So that'll be a fun one as well. Concordia, we'll see kind of how healthy they are. They're the 3 taking on Sydney, the 6 seed. So that'll be an interesting one because Concordia has been one of the best teams all season, but not 100% heading into the postseason, which you never want to see that. But how will that impact the bracket and how these games play out? Lincoln Lutheran, the 1 against Fillmore Central at the top of the bracket, and then Cozad, the 4 against Ashland Greenwood, the 5, another team with a lot of experience at state. Noah Shoemaker is kind of the leader for that Cozad team, another good player there. And then Daniel Stoner for Fillmore Central, Jacob Dewitzman for Lincoln Lutheran. There's some really good players. Missed out on Garrett Johnson from Holdridge.
That's-
Didn't make it to the tournament because Donovan Trumbull knocked them off. But otherwise, you've got Duetsman and Smith. There are a couple of and Shoemaker. Those are our 3 other finalists for Player of the Year for the NEBPreps Award Show in C1. So you get a chance to see all those guys compete. That'll be fun. C2. Freeman is kind of the heavy favorite going in. I would say they're 24-1, only lost to Johnson Brock, who
Summerlin though is not bad.
It's a well-rounded team. Yeah.
This could get interesting a little bit. Freeman's definitely the favorite, but
yeah,
Summerlin.
I'll have to handle Bergen in the first round.
Yeah.
Gavin Baker's good post for them. 6'5", talented multi-sport kid there. So that'll be tough. But yeah, I think you mentioned UTAN. They're the 2 seed. West Holt kind of pulled off the upset in district final to make it there as the 7 seed. And then you got Cross County, who just a well-balanced physical team with facing Cedar Catholic in the 3-6.
That's pretty even-ish matchup. Like on the bottom of that, feel good about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Freeman's probably a heavier favorite than in maybe some from the other classes, but they're gonna have to earn it.
Not this next one though.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's the heaviest
Johnson
favorite.
Brock, the favorite in D1. They are 26-1. Freeman and Johnson Brock, their only losses have come to each other.
Yeah.
They've played each other twice.
Johnson Brock is the heaviest favorite of them all.
Yeah. They're facing Elmwood Murdoch in the first round. McCool Junction, Elm Creek is the other half of that bracket.
That McCool Junction with their size a little bit.
Well,
maybe
I don't know. I don't know if he hasn't played since he got injured, so I have not been able to check in on that. I don't know his status.
Yeah.
But Carson McDonald has had to step up big time with Maypew out. So that's that'll be fun. He's a really talented guard there, going against potentially that Johnson Brock group with the Dollinghouse twins and Brady Kaler, who's had a great season as well. Then you've got Howes Dodge as a 2 against Dunny County Stratton and Bancroft Rosalie and North Platte St. Pat's in the 3-6 matchup. Bancroft Rosalie, they can shoot.
Yeah, shoots the lights out, like shoots it very well.
Yeah. And finally, last class here, D2. O'Neill St. Mary's, the 1 seed there, Gade Hedstrom leading the way.
Yeah.
But they've got they play a unique style. They with their zone, their trap, their up tempo. They try to get a lot of steals, get out in transition, get a lot of shots up. So it's kind of maybe a little different style than you may see in D2 often.
There's a lot of Northeast Nebraska in this bracket.
Yeah, that tends to be the case in this class, probably.
Yeah. They really is.
Yeah, so St. Mary's is facing Silver Lake in the first round. The 4-5 is Archangels Catholic against Stewart.
Yeah, Humphrey St. Francis.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for. That's what I was waiting for.
I'm totally doing that this week, by the way. I'm for sure doing that on purpose, actually.
2 seed is Wausau. They another kind of balanced team, not necessarily a team with one superstar player. It's a team just strength of its pieces up and down the lineup. They're facing Fullerton, who has 6'6" sophomore Kane Wedovic that is a double monster this season. A crazy rebounder and can step out and shoot a little bit. He does a lot for them. So kind of a little bit contrast styles there. And then why not the 3 versus Elgin Pope John is in the 3-6 game.
Yeah, it's a lot of Northeast Nebraska in that D2 bracket. Hedstrom's really good. I mean, he's
just a junior as well.
Yeah, you know what is actually neat about the format change of only playing in 2 places is great. So like if you want to, you're like, hey, there's a sophomore at Fullerton. Yeah. I think I kind of want to go see. You don't have to drive across town to like a high school.
Yeah.
And Lincoln driving is bad anyway. Like just getting around because the streets are curvy and not straight.
We often get weather that impacts travel.
So like, it's cool that you can just be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go over here for this one. For people like me that like to do that. So, yeah.
Don't have to worry about them closing the doors like with Winnebago during their run.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
I think they're going to worry about capacity and selling out and having to lock the doors like they did in some of those games. So,
correct.
that is our state tournament preview. Like I said, we will be there all week long.
Yeah.
We'll have our whole crew there. We're bringing you interviews, highlights,
It's gonna be a lot.
photos, recaps, updates. We've got you covered from every single angle. So stay tuned.
And Mountain Dew.
Yes.
Not for me.
Our coverage will be powered by Mountain Dew for Austin and I, and Mike will find
Water
something
and
else.
coffee. I quit drinking. I'm almost a year without a soda.
Proud of you, Mike.
Almost one whole year. May 10th. It's gonna be hard.
I don't drink coffee. That's not going to work for me. But yeah, we will
Smash
we
a
will be back.
Red Bull, bud.
We'll be back next week to wrap up the 2024-25 high school basketball season. Hard to believe it's already here.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.